Hello, everybody. Prince Lothric is in your hands. Sorry, that was for me, for later, when I edit this video altogether. Because I need to read that, and I didn't have my patented wave in the beginning. Because I haven't learned my lesson. I need to remember to not record episodes at 3 a.m. when I need to be at work at 10 a.m. Because that straight up gives me zero time to do anything. But anyway, what I'm getting to with that, I should say, is I have no audio for this episode. I did. Let me explain myself. I had audio while I'm running around like an idiot explaining stuff that's not here anymore. I record live most of the time, except when I accidentally make a blunder, like what is happening now. And I did have audio, right? So that was coming off of episode 11, 12, and this will be episode 13, I believe. These were all recorded one after the other. Episode 10, I think, was pretty good. I forget what area that was. Episode 11, 12, and 13 were all recorded. Wait, 10, 11, 12? I forget. These three, this episode and the two prior to this episode, which was 10 and 11, I just remembered. 10 and 11 were recorded before this, obviously, but all in one chunk. And so, I believe I was in a really good mood when I did those episodes, and then episode 11 happened. And I think, if I remember right, that was the dungeon area, and I hate that area. So that really wiped me out. Buckled with the fact that this was also being recorded in the twilight hours of when I was supposed to go to sleep. But nay, I decided not to do that and decided to go onward and record more against better judgment. Oh look, in the second phase of the boss. I will say about this boss real quick, as long as I'm talking about the game, is that this boss was way easier than I remember. And I have a secondary playthrough going right now with Dark Souls. This one I'm recording and the other one I'm not recording. But all the bosses are a little bit easier than I remember. Except for the Dragon Armor Knight, which I believe we will get to in this episode. They're all easier than I remember, and I know I mentioned this on a few episodes before, how I summoned some people and then I immediately felt bad about it because we destroyed the boss so quickly. And the Dancer is no exception. I remember when I first beat this boss, this was one of the bosses that I was actually really nervous about fighting on camera, because just because it took me so many times, my first time to get through this boss solo, and as you just saw right now, it was a one and done, and even I was flabbergasted by that fact, and I was like, oh my god, that's weird. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, the audio. I decided to redo this audio. Oh, I will read this really quick when I find it. The soul, because it's kind of funny, and I'll explain why. Soul of the Dancer, one of the twisted souls steeped in strength, the Pontiff Sullivans bestowed a double-slashing sword upon a distant daughter of the formal royal family, ordering her to serve first as a dancer, and then as an outrider knight, the equivalent to exile. I thought it was kind of weird that he ordered her to be a dancer, and I was like, some weird sexual shenanigans may have been afoot. And then after this I went back to Firelink Shrine, as you will see after this cutscene, probably, maybe. Yes, I believe that you do see it after this cutscene. But I did have audio for this, and I'll make this quick just because I've been on this topic for way too long. But I was so tired that the further I got into the episode, the more I just kind of quit talking, and the more I just kind of rambled on. Kind of like I'm doing now, except more incoherently. And I thought it was not fit for video, so I decided to do a impromptu post commentary after the recording of that video, which you are currently listening to. And so that's enough of that. That's enough explaining why this is happening. Only 6 minutes of your life. Back to Firelink. So we are going to talk to this lady.
Ah, there you are. As I said, I am Carla, and I'm grateful to you. Now, what shall we do? The only thing that might interest you was my sorcery. Although my dark arts are a detestable sort, that wouldn't interest you, would it? You're wicked, aren't you? Very well. Humans are of the dark, and you are no different. Some may avert their eyes, but the truth remains the truth. Be careful, though. Few humans are privy to this knowledge. Let it be a secret, kept between you and I.
This is when I was explaining when we could give her these pyromancy tombs that the original pyromancy guy would not take.
Oh, a pyromancy tome, have we? Relana, Witch of Izalith. Well, this is a fascinating pyromancy. Very well. If this is your wish, I will unravel the thing the best I can. Besides, it will be nice to play master for once. Oh, another pyromancy tome, have we? And one that resonates with the dark. Yes, well suited to me. I may be a heretical sorcerer, but you bring me nothing but pyromancies. Fiendish little lad, you.
Then we're going to talk to our good buddy, the blacksmith. Well, I can't remember his name. But anyway, I'll let him talk.
I won't turn down a request. But forget not, your fight is for the flame and for your fellow kin, just like mine. A cursed fate this may be, but hope remains, does it not?
Andre Vestora. Don't worry, I remembered. I will talk about those two dialogues for a second. One was with the witch, and how I did like that little playful, like, banter she gave, where it was like, "Oh, I'm a sorcerer, and yet you bring me nothing but pyromancies. Oh ho ho!" I thought that was kind of funny. And with Andre, I really like that line that he gives when you give him that dark ember. Because that's the most serious line that he actually says, and it's like when you're with like a friend or like a jovial family member, and they're always so silly, and then for a split second, like they give you like a real talk, and all of a sudden you see them in a whole different light, and it's like, oh my god, like Andre's like this big lovable goof and all that, and like he makes your weapons, and he's like he's awesome, he's Andre, who wouldn't love him? But then all of a sudden he became like a almost like a dad, a father figure for a second, and it was really, really weird. Yeah. Andre's my daddy. Enough of that. But look at that sky! I will touch on that later, but I guess I'll talk about it now, since I have nothing else to talk about. It's interesting. I forget what those creatures are up in the sky, but it's something butterfly, and I would look it up now, but I don't think I should do that. I need to be looking at the gameplay in order to keep me entertained. But there's something butterfly, and I thought that might be interesting because when I originally played through this game, I actually thought that, like, oh, what if they're the beginnings of moonlight butterflies? Because, like, in Dark Souls 1, it was like we only saw the one of them, but, like, maybe in Dark Souls 3 we're seeing, like, the origins of, like, these butterflies. Even though the timeline wouldn't really make too much sense. But hey, I don't know. A lot of people are talking about... I thought that was funny when he tried to throw those axes up at me. But I don't know. A lot of people... I guess I'll talk about this now. But I don't really know when this game truly takes place. And nobody really knows for sure. Like... Oh. AVG antivirus. Postpone you for another 24 hours. But I don't know. Because there's a lot of debate about when this game takes place. And to me, I still straight up think that it takes place way after the events of Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2. But it's still interesting that a lot of people think that this game is a prequel to those two games. And, I mean, granted, that could be true. Because it wouldn't make sense that in Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2 you are unkindled, and, like, you're unkindled, and then in this game you are... Or wait, no. In the other games you go hollow, and in this game you go unkindled. And hollowing is a totally different thing. It's a total different beast. It's very, very weird indeed. And hey, illusionary wall. Yeah. Where we find an armor set and I believe a shield. And there's a message up here that I really like. But won't talk too much about. But yeah, but time travel is canonical in the Souls universe. As we saw in the DLC of Dark Souls 1, where you would go back in time, and forward in time, and it was weird. I don't quite understand. I made a cut there just because I went back to the bonfire and ran through this area again, but this is a new area because items have not yet been picked up. Aha! This is how I can tell. Chip damage. Sorry. Had to take a swig of tea. It's very good tea. I recommend it. Because a little behind the curtains action. After I'm done live comming this episode, I'll be recording potentially the final episodes of Dark Souls 3. Actually, that's not true at all. Because the DLC. But after this, I might be recording the last episodes of the vanilla game, if you will. And I gotta get my pipes all lubed up, man. With this delicious, delicious tea, and I will give it... It's so good, in fact, that I will give it a little bit of a shout-out as I fight this Red-Eye Knight. It's, the brand is Celestial Seasonings. And the flavor, I think it's a new tea, but I'm not entirely sure, is Watermelon Lime Zinger. A hibiscus tea with watermelon and lime flavors. It's a very interesting tea, and normally I never have sugar with my tea, but this tea is actually really, to me it's kind of bland, even by tea standards, and so I decided to add a little bit of sugar to it. And it's awesome, because when you add sugar, it tastes a little bit like Kool-Aid. But I don't get any of the lime, really. When I added sugar, I noticed a huge increase in like the watermelon flavor. And on the back of the box, I thought this is kind of funny, because it's a quote by Mark Twain, and I've never heard this one. I've heard Mark Twain say a lot of things, usually about racism, but this time it's lighthearted and jovial. And it was, when one has tasted watermelon, he knows what the angels eat. And I thought that was a weirdly, like, not out of character thing of him to say, but it was definitely kind of interesting. I've never heard a grown man, like, talk that highly of watermelon. I love watermelon. I'm not entirely sure if I would say, like, cherubs, like, grew these in the kingdom of heaven and bestowed them into our gardens. But, apparently Mark Twain thinks that. And, oh! Hold on. Nope. Oh, wait a minute. Ingredients. Hibiscus, rose hips, orange peel, natural watermelon lime flavors and other natural flavorings, and blackberry leaves. Interesting. Oh, wait, yeah, here we go. This is the selling description of this. This refreshing herbal blend features tart and tangy hibiscus. Wait, let me get closer to the microphone. That way you know it's serious. All the way in there. Oh yeah, there we go. This refreshing herbal blend features tart and tangy hibiscus, lively botanicals, and invigorating watermelon and lime flavors. Delicious when served hot and pure. Refreshment over ice. That is an awkward sentence. Delicious when served hot and pure refreshment over ice. I think somebody messed up. Charlie Baden, the blend master. Apparently, he's great at making tea, not so great at spell checking. Not even spell checking, just general grammar. But anyway, great tea. Recommend. 10 out of 10. And this area, oh my lord. I just looked at the screen again. This area is awful, because I remember running through this area the first time in my original playthrough, and I had all these guys chasing me. I had, spoilers for later in the area, I had a couple of ninja dudes, which we will see in a few seconds. So all of these dudes, the regular ones, the firebomb throwers, the ninja dudes, a mimic was chasing after me, and I had aggroed the goo on the dragon foot that we have yet to see. So this whole area was just trying to like I don't know, making me do bad things that I did not want to do. That's the mimic, by the way, which is why I did not open it. Because when you go through this area, you're like, oh my god, there's a ton of enemies. Surely that can't be a mimic. But, hey, turns out it was. I swear there are more mimics in this game than actual treasure chests. And these were the ninja guys I was talking about. Deserter trousers. Ooh boy. Oh yeah, and by the way, this armor set that I'm wearing, I don't know the actual pieces because I actually threw it on like really quickly, but this is going to be the armor that I use for the rest of the playthrough. For two reasons. One, I actually really do like the look of it. And two, I'm keeping the helmet because it looks a little dumb. But like, I actually think everything works together, really. I mean, the only thing that clashes a little bit is, like, the white of the skirt underneath my, like, black cloak. And down there, the menu is up. I'm getting on my firebombs because if we remember from Ludic's Gundyr, that black tar was, weak to fire. And I don't know where they got the information from, but I did check the wiki. I did check the Dark Souls, the Fextra Life wiki, the only wiki you should be looking at for Dark Souls related anything is Fextra Life. Which I will go on to now, because I want to actually give information about the stuff on his back, if I can find it. Oh. Oh, interesting. Not what I was looking for, but just kind of a cool little factoid. Ludex is judge in Latin, and Gund means battle in Old Germanic. So together it means judge or test battle. He is the test of strength. This is actually very interesting. He is the test of strength. Remember back in the old days of wrestling, when people used to have the test of strength against each other? If you don't know what the test of strength is, that's when you would outstretch both of your hands, interlock your fingers with the other guy, and just kind of push against each other. It's the most impractical form of fighting and testing one's true strength. But, I don't know. This lizard was backed into a corner. He had no chance whatsoever. But now this area is kind of... I mean, besides, like mob enemies, there's not really any, big stage threats anymore. And I did go to this dragon, and, I can't hit him. He actually doesn't have a hitbox, which is... I think when I originally recorded the video, I said lazy. But there's an actual reason that he looks like that, in particular. And, it's actually quite interesting. Because we saw another dragon that was kind of all, like, stoned out and white, like that. And, I didn't look close enough at it, but I want to kind of go back now to see if it had the same affliction that this guy had. So the rest of this little chunk is me clearing out all of the items of this kind of lower, like I want to say the word pavilion, but I don't think that's the right word. Just lower area, I'll say. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I'm just very infatuated with this tea right now. Okay, so we have the holy trinity of teas, right? You have, your basic green, black. Well, I guess not really trinity. Green and black are really, I'll say chai. But, I think that's kind of a cop-out. But I don't know. Those are, the holy trinity of, teas, I think. Chai, not necessarily. It's kind of like the lost brother of the tea world. Chai tea is that weird uncle that's like, I really like that tea, but I mean, I wouldn't have it every day. But I mean, if I did have it every day, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily complain about it. I think that would be rude. So, yeah, we're fighting another one of these dudes. Which, very interesting that we're fighting him here. Not really for any particular lore reasons, but I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. I think they felt like they needed to put another one of this particular type of enemy in the game, and they just couldn't find any This was as good a place as any, really. I think they were going for more. I guess the first place that we fight them didn't really make much sense. I would have liked it if this guy was I would have I think it would have been better if we fought 3 of these guys, but they're all spread out in Irilith. I just can't wait for the DLC to come and we fight like a room of 5 of them. And yes, this is like the most mimic-ready room in the world, but they're not mimics. Not a single one. There's 4 in this room, I believe. Look at these ones. Look how weird they're spaced out. This made me super, nervous, because never in Dark Souls have they ever had chests kind of, willy-nilly like that. They're always, pressed up against a wall. Very nice, very neat. Perpendicular to one another. They don't have them, almost facing each other. That's really weird. I don't know. That made me nervous on many levels. One, from a gameplay standpoint, because I'm some of these have to be mimics. Look at these angles. And another one of just, oh my god, how come they're not straight? Darn it. I don't know. I wish I could say OCD nowadays. But, people take that a little bit too seriously, you know? It's oh my lord, I have OCD about that. It's I know I don't. Okay, real talk for a second. As I debate about whether fighting this monster or not. Spoilers, I don't. But real talk, I know OCD. I might say OCD in the future. That's a given. And I'm just gonna say it offhandedly. I want to just say, I know OCD is an actual problem. I know that it is an affliction that many people have. I know the seriousness of it, and I know the consequences of it. However, whenever I use it, it is a joke. I don't actually have OCD. I don't need to flip on and off my light switches 10 times before I go wash my hands until they bleed. I understand this. And I know I'm making fun of it as I'm real talking, but that's how I real talk. Anyway, enough of that. So, I was going to get back to what those things actually were, and I would like to brag a little bit and say I'm glad I was right. Because when I originally played, I said, they kind of look like dragons. And I was like, maybe they're imperfect dragons. And then I checked the wiki, and then I'm like, oh my god, the wiki says they're imperfect dragons. And I don't know. I think it said a little bit more, but there wasn't actually much information on that. Which is kind of upsetting, because when early video and screenshots came out, it showed Lothric Gundyr, but I think, if I remember right, they showed it in a totally different arena. It was inside, it had a roof, and it was closed off. And there might have been pillars around, but I'm not sure. And then they showed Lothric Gundyr, and then they showed him popped, right? With that big stuff on his back. With the dragon out, I guess. And I was really upset because the tutorial boss had that. I was going to assume that a lot of this was going to be the new gimmick of Souls, right? It's oh man, every boss has its normal phase, and then it's also afflicted with this horrible, horrible ooze monster. Excuse me. But no, that was indeed not the case. Was I a little bit upset about that? A tiny bit. But not too much, I guess. I guess enough to where I would ramble about it for about a minute and a half. But time for revenge. Yes, you feel it too, don't you? The lives we've lost. The souls we've lost. The Phantom Crossbow. Oh my god. That sounds like a... I don't know, that sounds like a move in Guilty Gear Xrd. Phantom Crossbow. Sorry. I'm having a really, really difficult time holding it together. But anyway. It really does sound like a Guilty Gear move, the more I think about it. The more I think about it, the more I'm hyped about the idea of a Phantom Crossbow. But the less hyped I'm thinking about it. Because it's like, oh no, I just put two dumb words together and made a thing. But, anyway. And I think I did miss an item down below that bridge. Oh wait, I forget where I'm going. Where am I going? This is interesting. I remember going to this path a second time. I don't remember a lot of this episode, to be perfectly honest. I was just too tired. I do remember this area, however, because the big swordsman started to come down, and he had buffed his weapon, and it did a lot of damage. And I believed in... Oh, then I made the mistake of fighting him without taking out his buffer, his healer, his medic, his support, his Nami, if you will, in League terms. See, I know League 2. Are you proud, Derek? Are you proud? But yeah, he just got healed. And I was like, oh my god, why? And I was like, oh, he's healer, I guess. Oh. Computer almost fell asleep. That's no good. It's raining pretty nice outside. Very pretty. I like that I'm inside. Talking about a game that I've already played. Oh yeah. I remember a point I was talking about, and I was like, I can't believe I beat the dancer my first try super easy. And then this guy comes along, and I'm just like, I've used more health potions, Estus health potions, god. What is this, Dragon Age Inquisition? I've used more health potions against this guy, this rando Black Knight, than I did against the dancer. And did you see that, that little, jut forward he did? That threw me off so much. That's so equivalent to, a guy, putting up his chest and stretching out his arms. It's like, you want, bruh? You want? I've already buffed. But, I think how I ended this fight I did pretty well. I decided to get a little fancy. Pull out some weapon arts, the things I never use. Oh! We met in the sky, and I had an answer. He did not, however. And then this guy. There's nothing over here. Oh wait, nope. Pardon. Must be the tea. But, never mind. There was an ember over there. So that means there is nothing. I shouldn't say that. Embers are useful for one thing. Ugh. It's like when I see... I'm gonna ramble about Derek for a second. Because I'm not gonna get into any, good parts for a little bit. It's just kind of me fighting back to the boss, essentially. But, I remember when me and Derek first started to talk about Dark Souls 1, and how I was talking about how great it was, and I was like, oh my god, Derek, new friend, person I've met for a month, you should play this game that I play, called Dark Souls. And he was like, I guess, I sort of heard about it, but I don't really know if I'd really like it, And I'm like, no, seriously, you should play it. And he was like, no. And I was like, okay. Because I didn't want to be too pushy. And then Dark Souls 2 came out. And then, I was like, man, don't play Dark Souls 2. And he was like, okay. Wasn't planning on it. And I was like, good. And then Bloodborne came out. And, so, I played Bloodborne a lot when it came out. And I was like, hey, Derek, you want to come over? And he was like, yeah, sure. And I'm probably remembering this not correctly, but For the purposes of this, it is correct. And he came over, and I forget what boss I was fighting, but I think I was fighting a specific boss. It might have been Daughter of Chaos. Not Chaos. Daughter of the Cosmos. Abritus. And he was looking at it, and he was like, oh, wow. This looks really cool. And I was like, yeah, right? He was like, what game is this? And I was like, this is Bloodborne. It's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, these are people who made Dark Souls. And he was like, whoa, really? And I was like, yeah. And, so, essentially, that led him to play Dark Souls 1. I think he might have played Bloodborne. No, because he didn't have a PS4 then. So I think he went back and played Dark Souls 1. And, I remember him talking about it. And he was like, wow, Mike, like, Dark Souls 1 is so cool. Like, there's this, like, I fought this boss with a huge ass. And I was like, yep. The dungeon demon? Or, I forget what his name is. That's kind of unfortunate. He was like, yeah. And I thought it was kind of easy, but, like, then I went further into the game. And, like, my eyes, like, his eyes lit up. Just like how every new Dark Souls player's eyes did at the time. And I was like, yeah. And then I fought a huge butterfly. And it was beautiful, but I didn't know what to do, so I died. I tried blocking his attacks, but that didn't work. I was like, yeah, you want to dodge those ones, man. And he was like, how do you beat it? I was like, you gotta wait for it to land. I was like, it lands? And I remember, because I was like, yeah, if you need help, just text me. And I'll give you some pointers. Because I was telling him how, like, I know everything about Dark Souls 1. But I was telling him about, like, if you're a veteran of Dark Souls, you only start getting good when you know all the secrets. And that's 100% true. Ask anybody who played Dark Souls 1, they can tell you where every illusionary wall is, they can tell you all the bosses, they can tell you, like, all the cheap ways to beat the bosses, and, like, how, like, the best way to beat the bosses, and, like, where all the secret items are, and, like, how to get all the armor sets, and it's just, like, you don't play Dark Souls 1 and then just not know everything. You know? It's kind of like, I'll equate it to a fighting game, where you only start getting good at the fighting game. Let's take Street Fighter, for example. So, it's like, you're only gonna be good at Street Fighter if you know everything about Street Fighter. You need to know all the characters. It's like, not only do you need to know all the characters, you need to know all the characters' moves, you need to know how they can combo into each other, you need to know frame advantages, you need to know iframes, you need to know what's punishable and what's not, you need to know when it's okay to go in for, like, kind of a risky combo against, like, certain characters. Because it's like, you're not going to go into, like, a tournament and play, let's just say you're going to play a Ryu and just, like, oh yeah, I play Ryu, but, like, I don't know the matchups. Because, like, it's a totally different game. Like, say, you're gonna fight Ryu, and, like, your guy, and, like, your opponent's, like, an Akuma. It's like, you're gonna fight Akuma way differently than you would fight, like, Zangief, or, let's say, 12. Aha! You thought I was talking about Street Fighter V. No. I was talking about the good one. Third Strike. The one that, unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people don't play. Hey, if you're out there and you like fighting games and you haven't played Third Strike, play Third Strike. That's basically that's basically what Street Fighter V should have been. Oh yeah, then I was talking about this statue. I have a beef with this statue. Because it's literally the same statue in every single Souls game. And, like, that's fine, but it's literally the exact same. Like, broken. And, like, the pieces are, like, in the exact same, like, style of brokenness. Because in Dark Souls 1, it was feet, and the thing behind it. Dark Souls 2, it was the feet and the thing behind it in a poison area for some reason. Then here, it's like feet and the thing behind it in an area that kind of makes sense for it to be in, but not really, because it's in like a weird room with nothing, and it's like, why isn't it next to a church, or in a church, or like in a special room? Why is it just kind of here, in a nothing place? But yeah, that's when I got a really good look at what those things like kind of look like. We're gonna get a really good one when we walk into the boss fight. But anyhoozle, I'm not entirely sure if I decide to go in right now or not. Ah, death. I thought that was a funny message. I might explore a little bit longer. I did summon Egon, or Igon, as I call him. It's Egon. I did summon him for this fight, because I kind of forgot that he had a quest line. Because I kept the girl safe. So I tried right. Oh yeah, and I went over there. I'm not sure if I did that now or later. But... oh, wait. I remember what I did. Yeah, I remember. It's because I saw that I only had 5 Estus. You know, I'm actually just gonna cut this part. Alright, and I made another weird cut there, in case you're wondering. Mostly because I actually messed up, and I'm going to make another cut here in just a second. Just because I actually messed up how to summon an NPC summon, because I didn't know this was a thing. Because if you send them back when you're in the world, you can't like resummon him in the same life, I guess. So I kind of messed up that encounter. But we are getting some more items. I did my little trick there to see if that was a mimic, because I actually couldn't remember and I didn't want to risk it. Then when we go out here, we're going to get the second half to a 2-ring collection. It's the red tearstone ring. Yay! And I'm sure if you played Dark Souls before, you know what that ring does. 100%. And it's kind of like the blue tearstone ring. Blue tearstone ring is when you get to a certain percentage of health, low enough, it boosts your defense. This one is the same, except you do more damage when you get to low health. And so that's always very fun when someone does a glass cannon run. But now we're going to try the boss legit this time. Or I guess... for the second time. Because there was a death that I cut out also. When I was trying to solo it. Wait, no, I didn't... Did I solo it? I forget. Yes, I did. I soloed it and got very, very close. I got to the A in Dragon's Lair. But then I forgot my golden rule. It's like, hey, don't fight bosses solo most of the time. Because, never fight bosses that require your acute attention. Like the Dragon Slayer boss. Because, he's actually kind of a really, really tough boss. Mostly because a lot of his moves are not unpredictable, because a lot of them are very easily telegraphed, but I don't know. Something about this boss is just really weird. Like, I think the timing of the attacks, that's usually what it is for anybody, I guess. And I don't know if you can or not, but I really want his armor. And his shield. I know you can get the weapon, but I really want his armor. Especially his helmet. His helmet looks rad. And another thing that's kind of interesting about this boss fight, this boss actually has like 2 gimmicks. where one, the sides of the arena are breakable, where you can easily fall off. Not easily, but you can fall off. And two, the butterflies are shooting at you, as you're seeing right now, which I think is a kind of an interesting gimmick. I'm not entirely sure if I love that, just because you really need sound awareness when you're doing this. And seeing how I have my game volume really... like, my game volume is turned down low. Not because I don't like to hear the game, but I don't know, I like it when it's low. Because usually, when I play video games, I play it with friends. And so I like to hear my friends' voices over, like, the video game, you see? Because, and I thought Egon was gonna be knocked off here, but no! He perseveres! He wratheth the gods out of there. He WOGs, he wogs out. And, we're able to beat this guy. And yes, I was going to emote. I kind of felt dumb about that, because I was like, am I really going to emote to a, NPC? And yay! We're going to look at him clip through the world, kind of unimpressively. But they actually do fade him out of existence, which is a good touch. It was alright. They did alright with that, I guess. Could have done it better. I would have preferred if he would have, if the bottom of him would have touched, like, a rooftop, and he either would have just ragdolled, that would have been hilarious, or he would have just wigged out and dispersed all across the world, as NPCs sometimes want to do in video games. And if you hear a spoon hitting a side of a glass, like this, I'm sorry if you have misophonia, but that is me stirring more tea. Treasure head, and there try down. But the contraption does not move. Oh, contraption! I love that note. I don't know why, but I remember like laughing really loud when I read that. Someone was like, contraption head. And that guy just was like, contraption! Exclamation point. I thought that was really funny. As previously stated. Frivolously. But, for this area is done. This area is officially done, that we're in right now. Actually, no, it's not. Because I still have one more thing that I want to do. And that is, I'm going to go back to Firelink, I'm going to use my souls, and I'm going to grab some black fire bombs. We're going to see me run around, I think if I kept this in, I don't remember. You're going to see me run around for a little bit, going to all the merchants. And I'm trying to remember, where in the world do I get black fire bombs? I'm pretty sure I get them somewhere. But I just couldn't find them. And we're at level 70. Oh my god. It's weird, because I think on my first game I finished at level 68. And so, being like this far into the game, and actually having a decent level, like, oh my lord, this is making the game pretty good. And we've upgraded the broadsword all the way. I have to use some souls, and I decided to use one that did not have to use. It's too many souls. I don't need 10,000. I just need 600. But yeah, the broadsword is almost all the way fulfilled. I start to walk away, but then I remember that I can get a little bit more damage out of it. Because I'm running a quality build, we're going to do the refined gem, which it doesn't do much, it only increases the dexterity from a D to a C. But it does give me more damage overall. And I remember, I'm going to stay on the screen for a little bit, just because I got a calculator out, and I actually did the math. And because I'm not good at math, you see. But I actually wanted to see how much more damage we were going to get if I decided to do that. Oh, that's great tea. I know I've said this. I got some more. But overall, I forget what it was, but I think the damage is only like 20 points different. But I was like, it's more damage, so I might as well. Like, you know, there's no... comfort. I thought that was actually kind of a sweet note. But there's actually no downside to getting like 20 more damage. Like, there really isn't. I mean, I can't think of one. Because I know 20 damage isn't a lot, but it can certainly save me in some situations. And this is when I was going back and getting the black fire bombs. I thought Grey Rat sold them. And oh no, I accidentally skipped his dialogue there. But I will talk about that real quick. I decided to not send him on that mission. Mainly because, as far as the community knows and as far as I know, there's no way to save him on that final mission. The first one he does really easily. The second one, he needed a mysterious onion knight to save him. Whether it be Sigurd or Patches in the onion suit. But on the third one, as of right now, there is no known way to actually save him. And I wanted to try and see if I could get more dialogue for this, or his dialogue string, but I didn't, which was kind of upsetting. If you really want to see that, you can either pause the video when it pops up, and I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend going to the Fextra Life wiki and just looking up all of his dialogue. And that should be close to the end. Just because, what a scam! This old crone sells firebombs, the exact same thing, for more souls than Grey Rat does. And I was like, why? This makes no sense. But it turns out it was Patches that does in fact sell the black firebombs. And they're kind of expensive. I did buy 28 though, just because I don't want to buy them for the rest of the game. I don't really think I'll need them for the rest of the game, but bring more than what you need. Bring more than what you think you will need. And that is great life advice just in general. I learned that when I was in carpentry. Because you always needed a few more nails than you thought you did. And so you always bring more than you thought you would need. But anyway, gonna go back because I still have that 1 foot to finish off. Gotta clear both feetsies of the black stuff, if you know what I mean. And oh my lord, there's a child crying next door. Why did you make the mistake of having a child? Lord, don't you know that some of us are sad and making videos by themselves? So I made a cut there because I am so dumb. Because I spent gonna walk away from the microphone just for a second, close my door. I spent a good long while trying to find the spot where I jump off. Like 5 minutes. And I almost died doing that, which is not good. But I actually have never been here in any of my playthroughs. So I freaked out when I saw the Braille Divine Tomb of Lothric, and I will try to reenact my reaction for when I get another item that is in this room. But at first I need to equip the black firebombs in order to dispatch the heinous imperfect dragon from this perfect dragon, I guess, by spamming the X button. Or square, or the use item button, or whatever it is on a keyboard, if anyone's like willing to torture themselves that much. Shouldn't be playing Dark Souls on a keyboard. I'm just saying. Got some chunks. Got a large shard for some reason. Got a Soul of a Crestfallen Knight. Oh boy. And we're gonna go in here. And I was 100% certain that this was the Mimic. So I think I did my camera trick, maybe. I didn't... Oh no! No! I was incorrect. I'm exposed. I actually, didn't realize it was a Mimic. Through the powers of post-commentary, I guess I assumed I knew it was a Mimic. But that's weird. Do Mimics not pop up? Because I don't know if I've ever been caught by a Mimic in this recorded play session. But I don't know if I've paid that much attention to where one has grabbed me when I open it. I've been grabbed by that, I know, on camera, once, at the very beginning. But, I'll redo my reaction to this weapon. That was it. I didn't read the item description, but bye, see you in the next episode, see ya!